Hello, folks. Coach James here. So I was coaching someone in the gym today, and they had a smartwatch on. And I said, "How are you getting on with that? What one is it?" It was a Garmin something or other. It seemed pretty good. But I thought I'd take that as an opportunity to talk to you guys about, like, do they actually work? Are they accurate? Are they worth getting? My general kind of thoughts. Okay, so there's two things. There's two things aspects of this. One, accuracy, and also, uh, second thing would be accuracy. Like, they they are not terribly accurate, and, um, in the sense of they are counting something. There is some sort of algorithm. They're not actually counting you moving your hand, like, the amount of steps you're taking. What they've done is they've gathered data, counted the amount of steps on people that are people are taking, right? So this person took 11,742 steps this day. This is what their activity looked like. This other person did 6,000 steps. This is what their activity looked like. And then they do that over hundreds of, possibly thousands of people. They collate that data and they come out with an algorithm out of it. So what they do is now they've got an equation basically in the smartwatch for how much you move, and that gives you a number of steps. Okay, that's how that works. Now there are flaws to that because you could put your smartwatch on your dog, get your dog to run about, and it's doing steps. You're not burning any calories. Also, this whole thing about 10,000 steps a day, it's complete shite. It's absolute nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. Just because people have had success with something doesn't mean that it was the correct thing to do. Uh, 10,000 steps mean absolutely nothing. It's not a magic number. What it's probably doing, people that are getting 2 or 3,000 steps a day, them getting 10,000 steps a day, they're probably burning an extra 150, 200 calories. Uh, and that's creating a slightly bigger deficit than they were seeing before. And that's why they're seeing the weight loss. But problem is, as you get fitter, okay, which is what happens when if you do 10,000 steps a day for a couple of months, you're going to be fitter by the end of it. Even if you don't do any cardio, any targeted cardio, you'll be fitter by the end of it than you were at the start. Now your body is more efficient at doing that 10,000 steps, so it's now burning less calories than it was at the start. Same thing happens with running. When people start running, they lose a reasonable weight to begin with because their body's very inefficient at running. So it's using way above baseline amount of calories for the same distance, same unit of per unit distance. Now, 3 months later, they're good at running or they're better at running. So now they're more efficient. So they're using less calories. That's why people plateau. Now, if you're using running to get better at running, that's good because now you can do more. You can either do the same distance quicker, or you can do the same amount of effort for a longer distance, and now you can do more volume, and that's the game in running. Okay, so that's step. The algorithm is the problem in step number one. Step number two is you have these like this psychological phenomenon where people are only interested in what their backer says and they don't actually pay attention to how they're feeling. This is very typical with a thing like is it Whoop, where it gives you like a rest, like some sort of score, or like things that give you scores on your readiness to train. Those things are nonsense. That's my opinion on fitness trackers or smartwatches and things. They're cool. If you've got a spare few hundred quid and you want to get a nice one, buy on. But my argument is if you spent that same money on coaching, you would get way, way more out of it. If you bought an app, okay, look, you bought an Apple smartwatch for what are they, what, £800 now? You spent £800 on me, you're going to get 10 times the benefit out of it. Just saying. Right? So, you know, one that bought a smartwatch and they're kind of, or someone who's a bit skeptical about them and they're on the fence, send this to them. Hopefully, that gets them to not buy one, and they can come and spend some money with me, and I'll get them way fitter and be a much bigger impact in their life than the smartwatch ever would. Right. Cheers. See you later.